Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be going over the answers to the radical equations problems you had on your review sheet. The answers to the 5 problems are on the screen at the moment. If you just want to check over your work, pause the video right now so you can see the answers. Otherwise, just wait a moment and I'll go through the explanations. Okay, question 1. Asks us to solve the equation the square root of x minus 8 is equal to 3. With all radical equations, we're going to use the same trick. Once the radical is isolated on one side, we're going to multiply each side by itself. So I'm going to multiply the right side by 3. I'm going to multiply the left side by the square root of x minus 8. Now the reason why I'm allowed to do this is because the equation tells me that square root of x minus 8 is equal to 3. So I can multiply each side by what seems like something different, but I'm still doing the same thing to both sides. Okay, so root x minus 8 times root x minus 8 is just x minus 8. 3 times 3 is 9. Adding 8 to both sides, I see that x is equal to 17. Question number 2 asks us to solve root 5x minus 6 is equal to 7. I'm going to do the same trick as before. Multiply the right side by 7. Multiply the left side by root 5x minus 6. So what we have is 5x minus 6 is equal to 49. Add 6 to both sides. We have 5x equals 55. Now divide by 5 on both sides, so x is 11. Question number 3 says negative 10 root x is equal to negative 30. Now in this case, the radical has not been isolated. There's a negative 10 times root x equals negative 30. So in order to isolate the radical, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 10. And what I'm left with is root x equals positive 3. Now the radical has been isolated. I'll use the same trick of multiplying the right side by itself and the left side by itself. And what I'm left with is x equals 9. Okay, so no work is needed after that step. Question 4, 2 times the square root of x plus 5 is equal to 11. It's important to note that this radical sign does not extend over the 5, so the plus 5 is outside of the radical. This radical has not been isolated. To isolate it, I'm going to subtract both sides by 5, so I have 2 root x is equal to 6. Then I'll divide both sides by 2 to have root x equals positive 3. Then multiply the right side by 3, multiply the left side by root x, and I end up with the same answer as in number 3, x equals 9. Finally, for number 5, I have the square root of x plus 100 equals 10 root 2. So getting used to this by now, I'm going to multiply this side by 10 root 2. I'm going to multiply this side by root x plus 100. I'm going to be left with x plus 100 on the left side. And 10 root 2 times 10 root 2, I'm going to multiply the 10s together to get 100. I'm going to multiply the root 2's together to get root 4, or just 2. So x plus 100 is equal to 100 times 2, 200. Subtract 100 from both sides, and x equals 100.